in this August occasion. First, I introduce Professor H. Venkateswaralu, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala. Professor H. Venkateswaralu has started his innings of Vice Chancellorship at the Central University of Kerala on 2020, having previously served as the Professor of Commerce in Osmania University, Hyderabad for 25 years. Just 1 minute, sir.
Please.
He has professorship at a very young age in 1994 and being one of the senior most professor in the country today. His 36 years of the university service spans with an amazing role as the special officer of Osmania University during its centenary celebrations. During the centenary celebrations of Osmania University in 2016, in which Sri Pranab Mukherjee, then Honorable President of India, graced the occasion with his extreme visit as the chief guest, Professor Venkateswaralu successfully organized the All India Vice Chancellors Conference and the International and National Alumni Meet. I welcome you, sir, for your view of NEP 2020.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a great time since morning that we did the same program on 3rd and 4th March. And in fact, last 1.5 years, we have been overexposed to NEP 2020. In fact, I attended not less than 20 seminars. Very recently, I attended about 5 or 6 programs. I come from a state university. I was there in a state university for 40 years almost. We have seen the vicissitudes, the movement, different movements in different subjects over a period of time, as you all must have experienced. And then now I am heading a central university. And most of us, by now we are aware that what NEP is for. I think we don't have to discuss about what are the components of NEP 2020, how does it work. But in my last speech, I addressed a few apprehensions of certain, I don't know whether ideologies or regions, that it doesn't work, or it works against the interest. So it is a perception. I don't say apprehension, perception, misperception. All this kind of a thing is there. But I would like to say only one point. What is NEP 2020? NEP 2020 is founded on, like we have been hearing on, 2 important dictums like Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Vasudhaika Kutumbam, make human being a partner in the progress in a most capacity way. Increase his or her capacity in a better way to suit the present environment anywhere in the globe. That's all. So what is the wrong in it? What is the problem in it? So this is what probably we have to propagate. The why part needs to be understood by the educationists more, because the what part is already UGC has started giving the guidelines. We don't have to do anything. The guidelines are coming one after the other. ABC guideline is there, just implement. Multiple entry, multiple exit guideline is there, just implement. Multidisciplinarity guideline is there, just implement. Interdisciplinarity guidelines are there, implement. The timetable guidelines are there, implement. That is, teams are working. What is our role is? Our role is to understand it properly and to adjust and then put it in a proper perspective to have a better utilization of the policy, because unless the field force does it as vice chancellors or as principals of college or as institutional stakeholders, it is not possible. So this is only one point I would like to say, because there are international flows, human flow, capital flow, technology flow, and these flows cannot be addressed if you keep quiet. So NEP addresses at the enhancement of human capacity. I don't want to go into any other details. Then second, I'll just take about another 3 or 4 minutes, though I have slides and all that. Indian knowledge system, in fact, let me admit that I'm not an expert on Indian knowledge system. What is this we are talking about? Till 3rd or 4th March, that when we did the program, I was not really fully aware of the Indian knowledge system and what we are talking about and how Indian knowledge system is going to be introduced into the higher education system. And a few days, last say 2 weeks also, I started studying, and there is some literature on Indian knowledge system, what it is. That is here, one or two points I would like to say about Indian knowledge system is, how Indian knowledge exists, where Indian knowledge exists, about what Indian knowledge exists. We have not learned it from Europe or West, or let us say America. That is, Indian knowledge exists in Indian minds, Indian grandmothers and Indian mothers and Indian children. The knowledge is transferred from the grandmother to mother to daughter. About what? About the entire society. This is what I have learned. So like we talk about, Gita says that knowledge is the liberator. From Vedas to Upanishads, we have a flow of Indian knowledge system which is running across, and then orally only the knowledge system is stored and deposited in Indian minds. This is what is the biggest challenge that we will be facing. And here quickly I would like to draw the attention that the knowledge system talks about 18 major Vidyas. It is readily available. And then 4 Vedas are there: Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, Shilpa Veda, 6 sciences, and 64 life sciences, or we can say the crafts that are required for day-to-day life. So this is what is Indian knowledge system. Now what is wrong, or why not we import, why not we take the Indian knowledge system into our higher education system on these things? Because literature is available, and what exists today can be applied. Then there could be some transformation. The transformation needs to be noted. Transformation needs to be implied into the present educational status. Then I would like to finally say, how do we characterize IKS? That is goal of knowledge. This is where we have to talk about Indian knowledge system. It is not man versus nature, man versus man, women versus man, and it is not power over nature conflict. This is what we have learned from Europe. Though you are highly knowledgeable means you are overpowering you have too much of power on the nature, and then your nature comes at your feet. No, that is not the point. That is, here we talk about this, this is the last point I would like to say. The Indian knowledge system that talks about powering himself, powering oneself, liberation and freedom of the individual. And knowledge is not limited to one, but knowledge is limited to all, as we witnessed in Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, who moved around these states. That is, they didn't confine to one, but they said they wanted whatever the ideology they had, they wanted to spread to all the people around the world. Then I would like to say only one thing. Last point is that mind, Bhartrhari is talking about, mind acquires critical acumen by interacting with the other traditions. Mind acquires critical acumen by interacting with the other traditions. What do we know if we know only our tradition? This is what Bhartrhari is saying. If you know only your knowledge, what is the point? Then here a beautiful thought. We are talking about Indian knowledge system. morning governor was talking about, Adulji also was talking about. What do we know if we do not know even our own tradition? Even if we do not know our own knowledge. So I have just sketched 1 or 2 points into your mind. The sketch is Indian knowledge system. One can attempt on the health, Indian knowledge system in the area of health. That is, through the ages, we have been knowing about the knowledge transfer through generations. There are home remedies, cures, and then food knowledge, when the food is preferred, when the food is not preferred, special diseases, what is the treatment, and diagnostic and preventive practice. All these things, where are they existing? They are existing in Indian mind and Indian homes. So such kind of a thing can come into higher educational systems, and that's where we learn, not just trying to know the past, what was lost, but it is trying to know what we are, trying to document, trying to analyze, trying to give it a wonderful shape to have wonderful generations into the future. I hope the program, the efforts of the Central University Terminal, let us all appreciate, congratulate the entire team, Dr. Krishnan and team, a wonderful work. Congratulations. Thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable thoughts. I request P.V. Elmurugan, sir, to introduce the next resource person.
Now I introduce Dr. G. Akhila, Director, IIT Trimali. NIT Trimali. Dr. G. Akhila is second woman director of the 57 years old institute. She is a professor of computer science and engineering, a doctorate holder from Anna University, Chennai. Dr. Akhila, while taking charge as a director of NIT Trichy, she said that her priority to make NIT Trichy more visible at the national and global levels. There is no doubt that NIT Trimali, which is the 9th best NIRF ranked engineering institute, is poised to reach greater heights under the new director. Dr. G. Akhila, before joining a director, he served as a registrar in charge of NIT Puducherry and is a professor of computer science and engineering. She worked at Pondicherry University as well. Even though she was in the administrative duties, her commitment to research never fails, which shows through looking at her publications in the last 5 years, 22 research papers, number of funded projects won. Dr. Akhila has contributed significantly to the fields of blockchain, big data analytics, ontology engineering, cheminformatics, and artificial intelligence. Now I welcome the view of NIP 2020. Thank you.
Yeah, very warm good evening to one and all present here. It's been a long session from morning for everyone. In the previous talk, Professor has introduced what is that Indian knowledge system or Indigenous knowledge system. Before starting, what is that Indian knowledge system or Indigenous knowledge system? In the previous sessions, we have heard about how to implement that NEP 2020 in higher education, especially in the engineering field, and one from the Central University also. But out of all these things, where this Indian knowledge system or Indigenous knowledge system comes into picture? When we talk about learning, the NEP 2020 tells very clearly that it should be holistic. It's not only be cognitive. It should be integrated. It should be enjoyable. It should be engaging. Everything is from the learning, from the student perspective. And morning, one more buzzwords also we have heard, artificial intelligence. Then what is this Indian knowledge system? It is actual intelligence, real intelligence. So here the thing is how we can integrate that in our education. So when we talk about this, we need a well-rounded individuals equipped with 21st century skills. That is important. That's what it's required when we implement this NEP 2020. Of course, it has to go in phases. So when we talk about this Indian, I think you can operate on this one, no? This one. From all the sessions, we have heard all the aspects of curriculum and pedagogy, but this has to be reoriented and revamped. How it could be done? We have talked about fully about curriculum, but how it could be the pedagogy and the curriculum could be reoriented and revamped so that the learning will be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. There comes into picture our Indian knowledge system or indigenous knowledge system. Okay, this is from NEP 2020. So here the important one is the critical thinking. How we can incorporate the critical thinking among the learner's mind, it's an important one. All the rest already we have gone through. And as our great Avayar says, Katrathu kaimannalavu kalladadu ulagalavu. That is, what we know is but just a handful of sand, but we do not know is like a universe in itself. It's a great word. So Indian knowledge systems, it has got that much information. Simply about two things I will tell. This again I'm skipping because everything is there. So generally if we take the Indian knowledge system, Upavetas are there, Darshanas are there. I'm not going into all those things because it is not necessary to have everything in our mind. But if you take about the third point, Shastras, Nyaya, Vyakarana, Krishi, Shilpa, Vastu, Natya, Sangeeta, Jala, Gani, among others, there are, as Professor rightly pointed out, 64 arts. That's what in Tamil we used to say, 64 Aya Kalaigal. So everything comes into picture. Let us get into it. So in the NEP 2020, the fundamental principles are respect for diversity and respect for the local context in all curriculum, pedagogy and policy, always keeping in mind that education, is a concurrent subject. A rootedness and pride in India and its rich, diverse, ancient and modern culture and knowledge systems and traditions. This is important from the indigenous knowledge system perspective. So knowledge of India will include knowledge from ancient India and its contributions to modern India. These elements to be incorporated in an accurate and scientific manner throughout the school curriculum wherever relevant. In school curriculum, it is not in our hands, right, because we are all in higher education. So the NCERT has to take care of this, how to incorporate that at the school level. And in particular, Indian knowledge systems including tribal knowledge, indigenous and traditional ways of learning to be covered and included in mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, yoga, architecture, medicine, agriculture, engineering, linguistics, literature, sports, games, as well as in governance, politics and conservation. And some of the specific courses in tribal ethno-medicinal practices could be given, forest management could be given, traditional crop cultivation and natural farming. This is only one thought or how the Indian knowledge systems could be incorporated in higher education as well as the school level also. And engaging course on Indian knowledge system available to students in secondary school as an elective that could be given. Competitions may be held in schools for learning various topics and subjects through fun and indigenous games, and video documentaries on inspirational luminaries of India, ancient and modern in science and beyond will be shown at appropriate points throughout the school curriculum. In school curriculum that has to be incorporated, and students will be encouraged to visit different states as part of the cultural exchange programs. At the higher education level, it is existing. At the school level, we have to bring in. So this technology use and integration is important one. So from this, the new technologies involving artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, smart boards, handheld computing devices, adaptive computers testing for student development and everything we have to use the technology we are using. But where is that integration? So from this, the inferences, the artificial intelligence systems involving Nyaya Shastra, Mimamsa could be used for creating educational software. these educational software could be designed keeping in mind the Gurukula system. Now you can ask, what is that AI system involving Nyaya Shastra? Incidentally, or I do not know, 20 years back I did my PhD at Anna University. My topic is design and development of knowledge representation using Indian logic system. The Indian logic system I used was Nyaya Shastra. Now I am very happy to share with you people is what I did at that time using this Indian logic system. At that time, there was only very less thought about it, and even getting the Nyaya Shastra content in English, that was the biggest problem, that is, I could not get. But I got only one translation where that was one thesis. They have translated the Nyaya Shastra to English. So with that content, when I was working, how it could be incorporated. So right now what is in everyone's mind is how the system or the computer is understanding. That's what we are talking about, artificial intelligence. What is meant by artificial intelligence? Nothing but we are making a machine to think like a man or a human being. So that knowledge has to be incorporated. How it is being done? Right now, all the knowledge is represented using the base of Western logic or Western thinking. So in Western thinking, how generally people will represent any entity or object? Any idea? Maybe it will start with tangible, intangible, or it may start with living being or non-living. But here in Nyaya Shastra, it beautifully says that any entity could be represented using this Panchabhuta. And apart from that, that mind and soul, 4 more entity they are adding. So any kind of thinking or any kind of representation of an entity or an object may be with all these things. So this is our Indian thinking. So the Indian thinking, Indian knowledge systems we are using to represent. Ultimately, we are aiming at artificial intelligence. So in that artificial intelligence, we would like to store all the knowledge. So whenever you are storing the knowledge, what is the advantage? I have to infer it. What is meant by inferencing? The logical detection. We human being, we are doing logical detection at every time, in each and every moment we are doing the logical detection. Based on what knowledge in our mind we are making the logical detection? We are not applying systematically, but we know how to apply and finally we will get the answer. But when I want to make my system to think in that way, this Nyaya Shastra beautifully gives 5-member syllogism. What are all the inputs required and what are all the other surroundings? Surroundings means the environment, and finally what are all the techniques available to infer it. So in this angle, if we think about implementing this, our Indian knowledge system for representation. But this is at the research level. What is the use of it? Why I have to do it? We talked about that implementation of Indian knowledge system at the school level. Simply we told that NCERT has to take care of it. But what is required? What is NCERT is requesting? It needs some of the tools which could be used by the school children so that this Indian knowledge will be imbibed. These are all the 2 things in mind. So now if we develop or if we have some centers which is working on this, converting the Indian that's a knowledge system into this kind of computational angle, and definitely our system, maybe within 10 years we can develop some of the tools which will use our Indian knowledge system, so that is going to give holistic, integrated and enjoyable, engaged learning for all the school children and all the higher educational institutions too. So this is what already I have talked about this. The professional education also, this could be done in all the areas, including the 3D machining or printing and everywhere. So here the inference is a special elective on Indian knowledge system based AI system could be designed. Right now we don't have, definitely we have to accept it. So that is the way how we have to think, how we can bring in. So at the higher educational institution level, we can think of giving a special elective on Indian knowledge based AI systems that could be designed and that could be given. But at the school level also we have to incorporate this, or we have to bring in this kind of thinking. And the next one is, informal schooling with more traditional educational practices may need to be integrated with and into these practices to enhance their impact and expand their reach. This is an important one. And incorporation, okay, Gurukula system right now, if we ask our children to go and get into the Gurukula and you stay there, definitely no one will be ready to do it. But we have to develop some of the tools based on this knowledge system or based on this knowledge, so that in the current context for the new millennial, we could incorporate so that that kind of transfer of knowledge and whatever it is, we could do it. So Nyaya Shastra can be used for this. Mimamsa also another one more Indian logic system, but I have not worked on it. I am giving it as an information to you. It's for building knowledge systems for incorporating AI as depicted in NEP 2020 from an Indian indigenous perspective. So this technology development using this Astikas and Shastras, we have to think about it. Okay. Actually, I have some more slides where how in NIT Trichy we incorporated this experiential learning. So some of the case studies I have, justly I'll go through it because already it has been done in NIT Trichy, and this multiple entry, multiple exit, not exactly that, but we have incorporated that, and that entrepreneurship we have given, and some of our students, they have got this opportunity, and that has been, they are in the global arena now, and actually I have some of the use cases. Let me go through it very quickly so that we have non-linearized student projects. Already it has been, we are using it in NIT Trichy. And UG project timeline also, it is in that way. Already we are in line with it. And pedagogical practice for PhD students, already we have started, it is going on. And online courses, multiple exit and entry, right now we are planning, and it is going on. And this is the last one, where now government is telling that integrated BSc, B.Ed and BA, B.Ed courses has to be given by or offered by the higher education institutions like technical institutions. This we are working on it. Tomorrow is the last day to submit our proposal. It's a 4-year ITEP course. Generally, they are calling it as an ITEP course. So in this, we are trying to incorporate this Indian knowledge system so that the teachers will be educated in that Indian knowledge systems, and they could be. This is one of the reference. And before concluding, finally, only one thing I would like to tell. From all these Indian knowledge systems, what we could give is, we have to provide flexibility on choosing individual curricula for all the students. But we should not forget that certain subjects or skills or capacities should be learned by all students to become good, successful, innovative, adaptable, and productive human being. That is the important one, what our NEP 2020 insists also. So apart from this, the students should have the scientific temper, they should have the endurance-based thinking and creativity and innovative thinking, sense of aesthetics and art. There are a lot of things are going on, but we have to develop, or we have to train our students in that way, where the knowledge of India, whatever the Indian knowledge system has, it has to be incorporated so that they will have, again I am telling, they will have a holistic, integrated, enjoyable and engaging education from the school to higher education. So whatever the earlier speakers they have talked about, that we could do it. The orientation, we have to do it in the curricula and the pedagogy based on this Indian knowledge system. So only one thought here is, yes, this whatever the knowledge we have in Indian knowledge system, that could be used for computing purpose, that could be used for creating the mind with lot of inquisitiveness, and so that definitely they will be, we will train all the students, or we will give them a holistic approach. So finally, I am very thankful to all the authorities here for giving me the opportunity and to share my thoughts in this Indian knowledge systems and NEP 2020. After 20 years, when I got a chance to talk about Nyaya Shastra, what I did it in my PhD, It gives me a delightful thinking also for me. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, madam. I request P. Velmurugan sir to. Sorry, sir.
Very short. Now I introduce Professor Titi Ranganathan. Professor Titi Ranganathan is a Vice Chancellor in charge, Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be a university. He has dedicated experience of more than 3 decades in the teaching and research, with his major interest in agriculture extension. Professor Titi Ranganathan has worked on numerous projects such as Agripreneurship for Youth. Now, welcome to view of NEP 2020.
Good evening to all. Actually, my name has been shifted from the previous topic to this topic. Anyway, I am preparing myself after sitting here. Because Gandhigram, just I will go through 2 minutes to go through it. It's not moving. Change. It's not changing. Yes. Actually, Gandhigram has been started by Gandhi. He came to, he was on the way from Madurai to Delhi. He was 1947. On the railroad itself, it has been started by the disciples of this Dr. Ramchandran, Dr. Soundaram. Their main focuses are rural education, rural health, and rural livelihood. These are the major milestones. By 56, Rajendra Prasad, he was President of India. He inaugurated. Then after that, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he formally inaugurated our institute by 1957. Major focus is on agriculture, cooperation, sanitation, rural disease, and home science. In this juncture, I will go through it. We are following, these are the normal one. Our staff members are sit relaxedly because we are following the NEP since 1956. So, immediately if you go into the, if government is given order, immediately go for NEP. Within 2 months, we will, one shot, we will go into the 100% NEP. Such a way, our syllabus and other things are already, we are in the pipeline, because we already, there is a university, there is a engagement in social relevance also, VPP, and other modular courses, and also other. These are all the major components of NEP, already we are following. Then coming to the indigenous knowledge, now we are in our university, there are different courses from arts, science, agriculture, sanitation, health, and engineering. Everything is under the one roof. In this, almost in all the courses, indigenous knowledges, that is Indian knowledges, in the name of indigenous knowledges, as well as it is being taught, and also in our curriculum it is going on. For example, in Tamil, we are undertaking tribal and tribal knowledges and other things. Like in fine arts, we are taking the local arts and culture, and it is going on. In biology, we are collecting all the medicinal plants and other things from the forest-based things. Moreover, in our parent body, we have Siddha, Ayurvedic, and Unani preparations unities in Gandhigram. They are preparing 250 preparations of Paspam, tablets, everything. So, our students are going there and they are getting knowledge from them. Moreover, in agriculture, as Madam told, that is indigenous knowledge in agriculture, and also ethno-veterinary medicines are, it is in our curriculum, their students are studying, and through which students are collecting, documenting and scouting of the indigenous practices. Apart from that, BO program in organic farming, in that program, natural farming, then indigenous farming, zero budget farming, then so all these components are already built in our Gandhi in our syllabus. So indigenous knowledge system, if you want to see some of the practices going on in Gandhi, in this indigenous knowledges as well as our ethno-veterinary practices, you can come to Gandhiram and visit our departments, and you can see our activities. It will give some idea for implementing in your institute also. So with this, I will conclude our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I introduce Professor Trimali Rangasami, former Vice Chancellor, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University. Professor Trimali Rangasami is an emeritus professor, UGC, at Alagappa University, Karaikudi. Okay. He is a well-known person in the sports field under his headship at Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University. 11 new departments were established and various buildings were constructed on the campus. His students fetched the national and international medals for the state and nation. Professor Trimali Rangasami was part of various advisory committees in the state and pressurized the Tamil Nadu state to make physical education and compulsory subject in schools and optional course at the college level to enrich the state in the international medal quota. He also accepted our invitation as resource person of view of NEP 2020-20. Now I invite your view of NEP 2020-20.
All the experts, they have spoken already about the higher education. I'm not going to talk, but only few words I will talk, which is not explained by anybody here. What is that? One, sports. That is not explained. So I want to say few words only, not much, 1 minute or 2 minutes, that's all. Now, we say students are not useless. Students are not useless. Students are not useless. Is it correct? Students are not careless, but they are caredless. What is this? Students are not careless, but they are caredless. Students are not useless, but they are useless. You know the meaning very correctly. For that, what is needed? We need physical fitness, mental alertness, and so that we can aim any achievement in the field, any field. So I don't want to talk much about all this educational policy and other things because all the experts, they have given extraordinary way. Finally, I want to take only few words in Tamil. In Tamil only I am going to just talk. கல்வியும் உயர் கல்வியும் இரண்டு கண்கள் என கொண்டு கல்விக்கு செய்யும் சேவையே கடவுளுக்கு செய்யும் சேவை என்னும் உயர்ந்த நோக்கத்தோடு காலத்தால் அழிக்க முடியாத கல்வி செல்வத்தை இந்த கல்லூரியை இந்த பல்கலைக்கழகத்தை தோற்றுவித்த இந்த உரிமையாளர் அவர்களை நான் மனதார பாராட்டுகிறேன். ஒரு கல்வியை கொண்டு வருவதற்கு எவ்வளவு பாடுபட்டிருக்கிறோம். Students are not careless, I told you already. Students are not useless, I told you already. But whether we identify the talents of the students, We did not. How we identify the student? 100 பேரை ஓட விட்டுட்டு அதில் யார் முதல்ல வர்றானா அவனுக்கு தான் ட்ரைனிங் கொடுக்குறான். That is not the correct procedure. What is the correct procedure of identifying the sports talent? Identifying the sports talent, every individual who has got talent. Man who has got more percentage of first twitch muscle fiber, he can become a sprinter. And a person who has got more slow twitch muscle fiber, he will become the long distance level players in the international level, which is not at all implemented in India. This is given by Honorable former Chief Minister of Gujarat when he was a Chief Minister. But my humble request is that must be implemented in India. Then only we can produce the international players in the world level. Identify the, first of all, you identify the sports talent. Then only you have to give a training. And also he has given 10 points. But we have no time. I can explain, but this is not a time. Finally, I want to say, கற்றது கையளவு கல்லாதது உலகளவு. பழமொழி. கற்றது கையளவு கல்லாதது உலகளவு. இது பழமொழி. அடுத்தது இப்போ என்ன வந்திருக்குது புதுமொழி என்ன தெரியுமா? கற்றது கால்குலேட்டர் அளவு கல்லாதது கம்ப்யூட்டர் அளவு. இப்போ அதுக்கு முன்னாடி இன்னொன்று வந்திருக்கு தெரியுமா? புதிய மொழி. கற்றது கிலோபைட் கல்லாதது ஜிகாபைட் ஆர் டெட்ராபைட். இன்னைக்கு இருக்கக்கூடியது ஒரு செல்போனை எடுத்துட்டானே எல்லாமே வந்துருச்சு. This is what it is going on in our country. As far as sports and games is concerned in India, if we want to bring the international level players, we must think of introducing. Already the Honorable Prime Minister of India, he said, yoga must be introduced in the school, college and universities. Not introduced. It must be made as a compulsory subject. Then only it is possible. And also, as I told, identifying the sports talent, this is also said by him. So that must be implemented. So with that, I am not going to talk much about any other things. First of all, and finally, I thank every one of you, and also especially the organizing secretary for completing this program in an excellent manner. Right? கற்றது கையளவு கல்லாதது உலகளவு. நான் சொல்லிட்டேன் மறுபடியும். ஏன் மறுபடியும் நான் சொல்ல விரும்பல. அதனால இதோட நான் முடிச்சுக்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your perspective on this topic. Yeah. I request Dr. C.K. Ranjan, Vice Chancellor, Dhanalakshmi Srinivasan University, Trichy. Please come, sir, onto the stage. Sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasant duty as a rapporteur to summarize what has happened in this session. Right from morning, the Honorable Governor, Dr. Kothari, and many others have spoken about how in the last 200 years, a lot of wealth from our country has been taken away. But most important was how our mind was subjugated. Those 200 years were terrible. They made us into slaves. Actually, it was a slave mentality that we had because our Indian traditional systems were all abolished, ruined in those 200 years. And it was nice to have a session here with the NEP talking about introducing the Indian knowledge system. It's wonderful that the old glory, which we had probably 1,000 years, maybe, of course, before 200 years and persisted about 1,000 years back, will hopefully come back. The very knowledgeable speakers spoke about why part of it, and that's very important. Everyone here has been talking about how implementing it, but the spirit behind why this NEP has come is for us all to understand. And once you understand that, the rest of the thing, implementation, would become that much more easier. And very rightly talked about the knowledge which was inherent with us, which was passed down orally from the grandmother to the mother and to the grandchild. I hope that gets documented, and it would benefit a whole lot of the generations to come. The richness and the things that are there in the Vedas and many other books that we have, I hope it comes back, and the traditional knowledge which is there, which always existed, hope is given the right prominence in the new NEP. Dr. Akila talked about the Indigenous Knowledge System, the holistic and integrative and students' perspective, and to take pride in India, and with her experience that she had in her PhD, how well the old traditional knowledge could be put back, and a thing like which is most sought after, AI, how we could put those algorithms back. I think there's much more scope for many other things to be done. And of course, the tribal knowledge, which is there, but very sparsely used. And many other things traditionally, which is there about forest management, natural farming, tribal medicine. And I, being from a medical background, being an allopathic doctor, today I can stand here and say that we have never thought about something called therapeutic fruits, therapeutic vegetables. There are so many other things. Of course, Ayurveda does talk about it, but it's about time that we start integrating these things into our medical systems and give a holistic treatment to the patient, unlike what is happening as on today. And the last speaker, of course, spoke about yoga. I don't have to speak much about it because it's something which we had it, and it's something which the world wants it, and we are the pioneers in that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. Now it's time to close the curtain for the technical sessions of this day with a word of thanks. Now I request our Registrar Madam, Professor Sulochana Shekhar, onto the stage.
Yeah, good evening, and I heartily want to thank all our esteemed speakers. They are very brief, as well as they explained everything. In a nutshell, if you want to say that Indian traditional knowledge system in national education policy is, "Enna valam illai nam naatil, yen kai eenda vendum velinaatil." This was the gist of it, I feel. I hope all of you enjoyed this session, and thank you for all your cooperation. Shall we give the mementos now? Yes. Yeah. I'll invite sir, please, to come.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I request Professor H. Venkateswarlu, Vice Chancellor of Kerala, Central University of Kerala, to receive our token of love. May I please invite Dr. G. Akhila, Director, National Institute of Technology, Trichy, to receive the token of love. Next, may I request Professor Trimali Swami Rangasami, former VC, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, onto the stage. Dr. C.K. Ranjan, Vice Chancellor, Dhanalakshmi Srinivasan University, Trichy. Please come on, sir. Professor Titi Ranganathan, Vice Chancellor, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Dindigal. Please come on, sir.
Thank you once again to all of you.
Thank you so much.